We want to bring in CTV's political analyst, U.S. political analyst Eric Ham now with The View from the States this morning. Good morning to you, Eric. So President Trump really escalating this trade war with the announcement late day yesterday. What sort of response are you hearing on the ground to this announcement in the U.S.?
A lot of trepidation and a lot of uncertainty. In fact, I spoke to a number of people who work directly with the auto industry. And what we're seeing across the board already right now is many believe that there is, in fact, a slowing of the economy. And one of the first sectors, one of the first businesses that usually is hit when you see a slowdown in the economy is the auto market. And so now there's growing concern that already because of this potential slowdown, that consumers were not buying. And now with these new tariffs, that places even greater uncertainty in the markets. Already we're seeing, of course, prices are going up. The stocks for the auto industry is going down, as well as companies now concerned about what they may have to do. In fact, we know Honda recently just laid off 9,000 workers, and we're talking about a very influential sector of the economy. The auto sector in the United States is about 10% of the GDP for the entire country. So what Donald Trump did yesterday was just another grenade that he's thrown into an already murky economy, and what this means for the United States as well as Canada. And I think what you're seeing today is just greater exasperation from a number, not only of executives, but also people who are looking at what this may mean for the industry and for themselves personally as well.
Yeah, and for consumers, it means that prices of a new vehicle are going to go up by thousands of dollars. So how does that jive with the president's narrative of making life more affordable for Americans? Consumer confidence is down. Prices continue to go up at the grocery store.
That's right. And in fact, what we saw yesterday from this announcement of these tariffs was it left more questions than answers. In fact, you saw that today when I spoke to a number of people in the sector themselves. They didn't know if this was going to be a tariff on an entire vehicle that was shipped into the United States or parts. And we know, particularly when you look at Canada, Windsor in particular, and the United States, we know those parts go back and forth on a daily basis. And Donald Trump, the impression was that he wanted to tariff the parts themselves because he's trying to force companies to bring all of their manufacturing into the United States. But that's costly. That takes a lot of time. And right now, with the uncertainty and what it all means, I think everyone is grappling. And right now, it's not Donald Trump, but it's everyone else who is actually suffering the brunt as a result of what we're seeing. And because this is going to be a massive, massive hit for consumers, for the economy, I do believe that Donald Trump's party will also take a hit politically for what we're seeing play out, to say nothing of what will happen next week when we know these tariffs do officially go into effect.
I know I'm asking you to look into a crystal ball for this last question. Is there anything that could change his mind in the next day or before next week, Eric, that you see happening?
Absolutely. Again, we are talking about Donald Trump. So we know Donald Trump could say one thing today, and tomorrow or even 10 minutes later, we can see something very different. In fact, when he spoke yesterday, he did say that there could be carve-outs where he could actually lower the price of these tariffs, these imports on vehicles. He did make that clear. But again, what that does is it just creates even more uncertainty. We know certainly that the auto executives and manufacturers and distributors are certainly going to be pushing between now and April 2nd to try to get a carve out. Will Donald Trump adhere to that? Will Donald Trump even move away from this completely? I think all of that is still up in the air, and I think we have to wait to see exactly what is going to happen when these tariffs, as well as other reciprocal tariffs, are expected to go into effect on April 2nd.
Eric Ham for us. Eric, good to see you this morning. Thank you.